You are listening to Thunderbolt Sports Talk. Here are your hosts, Charlie Adams and Timothy Yeen.
Welcome to the podcast, episode 10. I am Tim Yeen, and I am here with Charlie J. Adams, who decided not to do the intro today, Chaz. Why is that?
Well, I just wanted to share the love, give you a chance to finally do the intro. Took you about 5 seconds of silence, but we got there eventually.
Yeah, I just waited until the green light went down, and that's how I rolled. So, Chaz, what do we have in store today?
Well, we got a lot of topics, not much Cranston East sports to talk about, but I know there is a couple of games, including our results from our cross-country teams, but also our football team played their final game before their much-anticipated Thanksgiving Day game. Tim, how did the football team do last night?
Yeah, it's so unfortunate, Chad. We lost again. Although it is pretty much an expectation at this point. Lost 20-0 against East Greenwich, the Avengers. They got our side this year after we beat them in a consolation match last year. And I guess this brings negative momentum into Thanksgiving, Chaz, if I'm correct.
And I know Cranston West yesterday also played, and they got a win over Woonsocket, so they might have that momentum going into the game. It's going to be interesting when we reach Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you can watch that broadcast on the Fans Only Sports Network. Fans Only Sports Network will be broadcasting that one too. Thanksgiving between East and West.
Will you be broadcasting that game, Tim?
Hopefully it's the Jim Yeen Logan Reed Power Hour, the mishmash, the combo, the Jim Yeen X Logan Reed or whatever, Street Fighter X Tekken, all those good things.
Well, the East Greenwich Avengers were winless until these last 2 weeks of the season. They took down Shea last week, and this week they're able to beat Cranston East in the consolation games. 2 shutouts for East Greenwich.
Yeah, good for them, man. If they do a Thanksgiving game, these games are a good time to have the ball rolling a little bit in terms of their defense. Obviously, showing with the shutouts, they can be a potential threat coming next year.
They'll be playing Cheraho on Thanksgiving for any of the East Greenwich fans listening along to the program.
Get to that. One person maybe from East Greenwich. You're welcome.
Now, Tim, let's move on to our state finalists, especially in our cross-country team. How'd they do?
Yeah, so they ran the Pontiganset track, which, according to them is one of the tougher tracks or one of the toughest tracks in the state due to just the amount of hills and, just bumpy curves around the course. But, both the boys ran new PRs. Cam, Felici, Cohen, Brinker finished nicely. They didn't finish last, thank goodness, but they did run new course PRs. Jessica Chen also running in states. She was the only one from the girls cross country team to make states. And, maybe could have been a couple more might have it not been for some unlucky injuries or, unlucky finishes. But that Pontiganset track is really tough, and I'm glad to see the cross country team, at least some of them, battled it out and got their way to states.
Yeah, it was a good performance by them. Also, our girls tennis team finished off their season. I believe we might have covered it on last episode.
Yeah, we covered it already. And they had a dinner last night or whatever. And maybe they gave out some awards there. I know at the cross-country dinners, they gave out some awards. I'm not sure what the awards are, but, at these dinners, it's usual for the coaches to give out, hey, here's a most outstanding player from our team, or hey, here's our most academically gifted. And we've also started the process, really, of beginning the, just trying to experiment it out, the new fall player of the season vote. And we already had some coaches submit their votes, and if some coaches are watching this right now, email timothy.300@cpsed.net to submit your vote.
And hopefully we will have less botted votes, or at least less spam voting than last year's voting system.
Yeah, we're gonna have it limited to one vote a person, Chaz.
I'm not even sure. I could control it, but I don't really want to be collecting emails or anything. It kind of makes it harder to fill out the Google form. It would have been nice to use SurveyMonkey, but they only told us that it cost money after we made the survey. So we had to do a quick change last year during our Player of the Year voting.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, at this point, with esports now nearly done for the fall season, just the Thanksgiving game to go, the NFL season is kicking up into fast gear as we're entering week 10, I believe, of the season, and a lot of action, a lot of teams that are looking to surprise some others, and a lot of teams that are surprisingly bad. The Buffalo Bills, one of them for certain, they don't even look like they might make the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills are really an iffy team this year. Josh Allen, he's been playing good, but he has not been, when you see that Bengals game, they just could not compete with them in any sort of capacity. The Bills are in an awkward spot. The Chargers, I think, when I'm looking at my fantasy team, they look solid, but, maybe Justin Herbert can scoop me up a couple more points. Cowboys, I think the Cowboys are doing good, but the Cowboys. But Patriots, where are they heading? Are they playing against?
The Patriots will be playing 9:30 a.m. on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be in Germany taking on the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, taking on the Colts in Mr. Sebastian Vollmer's country. Patriots, Colts, I think Colts got that one, especially considering the kind of situation that's been going about. J.C. Jackson out. He's not going to be traveling with the team to Germany this week. He will be taking a mental reset of sorts. The offense sputtering. So, you can't really get more obvious than that. This offense sucks. This defense pretty bad. And Bill Belichick, I don't know if you saw the video, Chaz. He was doing the walk of shame in Nantucket.
I don't know. It didn't really look like Nantucket to me, but I don't know who you can blame this offense on. Do you blame it on Bill O'Brien or Mac Jones, or just a mix of both, or Matt Patricia?
I think Matt Patricia set a bad standard, coming into this year, because all the fans really wanted was just an offense better than Matt Patricia's, which is technically kind of true, but the entire coaching staff really needs to be studied at. We were hyping up the Bill O'Brien hire, we were hyping up the Adrian Clem hire, the offensive line coach, we were hyping up some other guys too, I think, but so far it has simply not worked out. The Patriots, I believe, have the 5th pick in the draft, and at this point, man, we basically suck, dude. And you have to look at the coaching staff, and you have to look at Mac Jones as well. You gotta wonder what's wrong with him.
And the offensive line is definitely arguably the biggest issue with this team at this point. They don't give Jones enough time to really do anything. And the Patriots improved upon their draft position after Thursday Night Football yesterday. The stink fest between two of the worst teams in the league. The Panthers losing to the Bears 16-13, Tim. Did you catch any of this game?
I did catch the final kick from the Panthers. Eddie Pinheiro had to go for a 59-yarder on 4th and 10. His longest ever made was 56, and that was not made, the 59-yarder, and they lost the game 16-13. And on 4th and 10, you really got to question now when they are at 1 and however many losses they have right now. I got to question if Bryce Young really was the right choice, or if Frank Reich is really putting Bryce Young into a successful situation, which obviously he can't really, since you guys had the number one overall pick last year. You guys are technically considered a worse team, even though they traded down for it. And now they don't even have their first round pick. So for the Bears, it's actually a win-win scenario for them. Win or lose, they improve their chances of the number one draft pick.
Well, looking at the first round and looking at first round quarterbacks of last year's draft, you got to look at C.J. Stroud, who certainly balled out with a 5-touchdown performance. Is he the best quarterback this rookie class has to offer?
Again, I think it's a little bit too early to tell, but so far from what we've seen, C.J. Stroud is easily the best guy out of this class. I mean, you look at the 5-touchdown performance, yeah. And, going toe-to-toe against the Buccaneers, which, isn't really it's really a mid-team at best. Looking at that, and, you see this highlights video. Yeah, C.J. Stroud is him, even though he had a bad score on, a test. He even had, a bad quote earlier this week. He was like, basketball players want to play football, football players want to play basketball, and we all just want to play baseball.
That kind of makes a lot of sense. I think I've just become more of a C.J. Stroud fan after that one.
Oh, really, Chaz? I mean, were you playing football or basketball before your baseball days?
Well, the thing is, everyone really knows that baseball players are the most versatile athletes. When you look around and you see a baseball player, they tend to be good at every sport. You give a basketball player, you give any other sport player besides cricket, I guess, a baseball bat and tell him to hit the baseball, he's not going to do it. Mm-hmm. But you give a baseball player a basketball, he's going to bang a three. You give him a football, he's going to give you a tud. So I think that's pretty much where Kyler Murray was coming from, or C.J. Stroud was coming from. And I have to agree with that statement. As I mentioned by accident, Kyler Murray, he's back.
Yeah.
And guess what also is back? The brand new Call of Duty. What are you expecting out of Kyler Murray's return?
Oh my God. So Kyler Murray, he's coming off a torn ACL, right? So I'm not going to expect him to be illy off the jump. And, it's just going to be a time of, how long does it take for Murray to get back to his former self, which was really, really good. This kind of changes the prospects of Caleb Williams a little bit. Depending on how Kyler plays out the rest of the season, which, of course, you can make the excuse of injury. But if Kyler plays really bad, could make the case for just dumping him and drafting Caleb Williams, whose draft stock has been kind of iffy, sort of, at least to X, formerly known as Twitter, for his, antics at games, or at least after games. And, you want to continue that, Chad?
I mean, he definitely hasn't looked like that Heisman caliber player this season. There's definitely some bigger options out there for teams that have risen up. A lot of quarterbacks, too, that are balling out this season and look like formidable options for whatever team decides to scoop them up. And Tim, the Patriots, again, they're in a position for one of those top picks. Would you like to see them find one of these quarterbacks, or maybe go the Rob Gronkowski direction and pick up Brock Bowers?
I think that, like you said, Chaz, the biggest struggle this season so far has been the offensive line, and I wouldn't mind seeing a top 5 pick being used on offensive lineman, despite the non-flashiness of it. But you definitely do have to consider the other quarterbacks, not named Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr. From Washington. Those are certainly names to look out for, which the Patriots don't even, Drake May, they might use their top pick on, but Michael Penix, depending on how he goes, he might be, somewhat in the mix this season. I know there's a couple other quarterbacks I'm missing out on, but Caleb Williams and Drake May really the top guys on the board to look out for. Chad, if you want to add any names on the college QB watch.
Well, Deion Sanders came out and said his sons will be drafted together next year, so we won't be able to wait for Shedeur Sanders who, I mean, they kind of fell off, but in Colorado, I haven't seen them as much on Instagram. You know,
Absolutely not.
a lot more coverage given to Taylor Swift and that whole thing.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, the Taylor Swift coverage, I haven't really seen all too much as of late, to be honest with you. With that being said, I'm spending most of my time on weekends at hockey stuff for the Fans Only Sports Network, and I'm trying to rethink my psyche here. I mean, Chad, I don't know, I've lost my train of thought, Chad.
Well, we were talking about Kyler Murray, and talking about Kyler Murray, you have to lead into Josh Dobbs, who of course was traded by Carolina to the Minnesota Vikings, and 2 days after joining the team, he comes in and wins them a game.
Yeah, the Pastronaut given by NASA as his new nickname, which is actually pretty awesome. Josh Dobbs really has an amazing story, man. You know, undrafted free agent to Pittsburgh, you know, bounced around a couple of teams. Cardinals, he played pretty solid. But the Vikings, man, I think this is going to be his best team yet, his best shot yet. He has the weapons already to work around with. He'll be a fine quarterback. He'll help lead Minnesota to the playoffs, or at least can help, just depending on how efficient he is. He already has the weapons. Jay Jettis is going to come back. TJ Hawkinson, the tight end, is going to be a baller. You know, KJ Osborne, Jordan Addison. So he already has a good set of receivers to throw to. And, you know, the backfield of Alexander Madison might be a little bit iffy, especially with Cam Akers now out for the season with an Achilles injury. But, you know, I think even without Kirk Cousins, this Vikings team, I think, should be competitive.
Well, you talked about Cam Akers' Achilles injury. Aaron Rodgers draws nearer and nearer to returning from his injury, and he might be a sneaky candidate for coming back and bringing the Jets to the playoffs. And who knows, maybe we just give him comeback player of the year for his own season.
Yeah, that would be an unprecedented return, but I think the fact is, or the problem is that Aaron Rodgers just needs to work miracles on the Jets right now, especially this offense. You've seen Zach Wilson play quarterback. It's not good.
You also saw Rob Saleh say he has no answer for why Zach Wilson's the starting quarterback, which is kind of shocking. I mean, it's not like Rob Saleh has any control over who's his starting quarterback, except for the fact that he does have control of it.
Yeah, Jazz. And, you know, once Aaron Rodgers comes in, it will be a fantastic Jets team. I might be overreacting because I'm looking at something right now, but it'll be much better than how Zach Wilson was holding it.
And let's switch over now to the NFL, or to the MLB, where their offseason is kicking off. Free agency building up. And Tim, what's some of your key targets in free agency for your Diamondbacks?
Obviously the top players in free agency, Chaz.
Like?
Mollies.
There's a big one I know. I know most people know. I mean, he's arguably the biggest person in baseball.
Shohei.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani, future Diamondback.
No, definitely not. Shohei Ohtani's contract will cost double the amount of the Diamondbacks' payroll, but it's okay.
We can find a way.
Yeah, sure. You're gonna donate?
Yeah.
You're gonna donate to the Diamondbacks Be Contenders Fund?
I will donate to that, and I will donate to the Craft News Blood Drive, which is happening after school today, so you can catch me getting blood. So, you know, there's some other free agents you want to look at. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, baller.
Killed that name.
Blake Snell, dog. Cody Bellinger, you know, absolute beast on the diamond.
Bellinger, the former MVP, really had a comeback to the top of the league after joining the Cubs last season on the 1-year prove-it deal. Now he's back on free agency looking for big money. Might be out of the pay range for your Diamondbacks, but the Boston Red Sox could definitely use another big bat to solidify their team, but also that pitching you mentioned at the top, Blake Snell, Yamamoto, and Ohtani, obviously what you're looking for, but they're the cream of the crop. Craig Breslow, the new GM or president of baseball operations for the Boston Red Sox, looking to make a big splash to open up his tenure as the replacement for Chaim Bloom.
Yeah, and I do know one thing that actually happened, Chaz. I actually did know it through ESPN. There's a new LA Angels manager from Washington named
Ron Washington. I don't think he's from Washington, but whatever you say. Another big manager shakeup was Craig Counsell heading over to the Chicago Cubs, replacing David Ross. David Ross, it seemed, had his job secured until Craig Counsell went in and became the highest paid manager in baseball. That was immediately after Bob Melvin seemingly became the highest paid manager. So the market resetting, and now coaches or managers of MLB teams are looking to get paid more money, and Craig Counsell's just seeming to be the start of changing the market for managers. A lot of changes early in the offseason for these teams.
Yeah, I guess so, Chaz. I mean, baseball, you got to shift into the new area, you got to shift into the young fan base, you got to shift into, everyone that's not a fan of baseball. And, with that being said, you got to pay the managers more money if you're going to start making more money, Chaz.
And that can bring us straight into our next topic. Let's look at our top 5 play-by-play guys. I'll throw off some names. I mean, there's guys like Vin Scully, of course, a legend. And there's also Joe Davis, all these other guys, including a lot of baseball names. In the hometown, Joe Castiglione, a classic voice in baseball. I know you've probably tuned in to WEEI and listened to Joe Castig call a baseball game. He's winding down his career, but he's definitely one of the legends. You got to give some credit to Joe Buck. He does it in both sports, and I don't know, some people don't think he does it well, but he still gets the gigs at the top of the food chain, so he's got to be doing something right.
Yeah, Joe Buck, we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten better over the years, to be honest. Back when he was back in the 2000s, when he was making the Randy Moss this disgusting act call, really put him as a no fun commentator, but so far he's been having a little bit of relaxation. He's been a little bit more relaxed, he's been more excited as of late, and he has been becoming more and more of the commentator that we should be expecting.
Yeah, and Mike Monaco also mostly for Nesson, but he also does coverage on a lot of college baseball, as well as the Little League World Series for ESPN. He's a big name that he's just starting up, but the Chicago White Sox looking to hire him potentially to fill their hole in their broadcast team. Hopefully Nesson wakes up and actually does something to benefit their company and gets Mike Monaco locked down. Tim, you can't go without naming Harry Carey as one of the best baseball play-by-plays. He's a legend, Tim. What's your thoughts on Harry Carey?
Harry Carey is certainly a very cool name.
It's a cool name, but even cooler were his big glasses and his classic voice on broadcast. I know you were a big Chicago Cubs fan at one point before you switched up and became a Diamondbacks fan, before you switched up and became another team's fan. Harry Carey was definitely one of the legends of the game, Tim. And I know you might have some names that you'd like to mention, but lucky for you, Tim.
Was your entire top 5 just like gaslighting me into my lack of knowledge for baseball?
Lucky for you, Tim, we don't need to hear your top 5 because this segment already accomplished its goals.
What?
So let's move on to the NBA.
What?
And let's move on to the Celtics.
I didn't get a chance to spit my 5 cents in, guys.
No need. The Celtics kick off their in-season tournament tonight against the Brooklyn Nets, whose social media team has been on a tirade recently. I've seen a lot of Cam Thomas content on their TikTok page, and they're definitely on one. Maybe not as on one as some of these international.
Oh, the Brazil teams are.
International social media teams are doing stuff that might not even be like allowed on Twitter, which is a hard line to cross. But
Yeah, I seen the Timberwolves Brazil post. That kind of scarred me, especially since it was against the Heat. I know the Warriors Brazil Twitter was, I think they posted something, but now it's coming to the point where even the NBA teams are kind of entrancing into that. Did you see the Hawks thing?
oh yeah, I saw the Hawks thing. I'm sure that's saved to your camera roll.
What?
Whatever that mascot. He's a good mascot though. He's a nice looking mascot. Not as scary as some, not as lovable as some, but he's a mid mascot. He's definitely up there.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's better than the Celtics mascot.
Who is the Celtics mascot?
I mean, it's a literal human,
So,
just dressed up as a leprechaun. So the Celtics are playing their in-season tournament group stages tonight against the Brooklyn Nets. They've dropped 2 games in a row. Tough losses back-to-back to the Timberwolves and to the 76ers. They're still kind of in control of the Eastern Conference, but like I've said in the past, the regular season doesn't matter. They'll be there in the playoffs when it matters. It doesn't seem like anyone really cares about the in-season tournament.
no, not particularly. I don't even think the players care about the in-season tournament.
There's no defense being played either.
Yeah, I've had I watched barely any in-season tournament. I don't even know how they're even working it.
I believe it counts to their regular season
Yeah, it
record.
counts to the regular season record, but it counts to the regular season record, and it's I'm not even sure how to describe it at this point, dude.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of weird that they keep changing the courts that they've brought in. They suck.
Yeah.
They're terrible. But Tim, do you think the in-season tournament can last more than a couple of years?
It's just a plot to get more money, Chaz, so it's gonna last until it doesn't, or aka until they make no money out of it anymore, which, I mean, as long as they keep making the city jersey editions type things, which unfortunately keep getting more blander and blander and simpler, we're gonna see it for a while, as long as people keep paying to go to these games and keep paying for the jerseys and keep paying to, fund the NBA.
Well, they made all those city jerseys, and somehow the Celtics ended up being an actual respectable jersey compared to the rest of the pack. Not very good. I mean, the Heat have done the same design every year. I think we've talked about
This year is is very different, but it's not a good different.
It's not as different as they did with the Atlanta jerseys, which are just not their colors at all. Just
it's a lot of black and white.
Same with
black and gray.
New Orleans, also just wearing completely new colors.
Lime green and gray.
Yep, just another dark color mixed with some randomness. Everything's better though than the Brooklyn Nets jerseys.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to retake a look at that one right now.
I mean, they're just a block of a bunch of colors. They probably have some meaning behind it, but they are not pretty to look at in the slightest.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now, and yeah, Chad, I mean, I think what they did with the Nets was kind of cool, but it's just the colors and the stripes. I think it's supposed to represent graffiti or something like that. It's not really gelling, and it's not really creative at all. I mean Nike at this point, or whoever makes the jerseys at this point, just gotta find a new way, man, or they've just. You know how the NFL does it with every 5 years, 5 years, and then you make a new jersey? I think the NBA should have that concept. Hey, have these city edition jerseys for 5 years, and then after that you can do whatever you want.
I mean, in baseball, they are making some nice City Connect jerseys. They're rolling them out much slower than they do with the city jerseys. They're doing about 6 teams per year. But they've been pretty all right for the most part. Some are a little controversial, but the City Connect jerseys that are also made by Nike, they're doing pretty good with those.
Yeah, I guess so, Chaz.
I know your Diamondbacks have a fan favorite
Yeah.
City Connect jerseys.
They got them Snakes jerseys. I've seen them.
What color are they? Can you remind the audience?
They're black.
Nope. All right.
Okay.
So let's look now.
Okay.
If you're willing to
I'll look at it right now, Chaz.
move on from.
I'll look at it right now.
All right. We'll get Tim Means' live reaction. First time ever seeing his favorite team's
City Connect.
most
Oh,
popular jerseys.
yeah. Those are the tan ones.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking about the different ones.
Tim Means sounds like he
Okay,
remembers
okay.
something that he's never seen in his life because he's never tuned into a Diamondbacks game.
Okay, bro.
Fake.
I'm not fake.
Right.
Fake.
Now, if you're willing to move off of sports for a second and look into other areas of the sports world, kind of sports world, maybe esports world.
Esports world.
And of course, when you're talking esports, you got to be talking about OG Fortnite, which is back on the program by popular demand
Yeah.
for another week. OG
Popular
Fortnite is
demand.
back.
Popular demand.
Yep.
Really? Who asked for this?
Me.
Okay.
OG Fortnite is back, and it's just as good as people anticipated, Tim. I know you don't have much time, but did you ever find yourself back on Fortnite for OG?
Yes, and I think the problem is that I've been away from the game so long that my lobby is almost entirely filled with bots. So, while the wins have been pretty nice, they haven't really been, win-wins.
What kind of teams are you loading up into with? Are you playing solos or are you getting?
I'm usually with the squad, man.
You're with Ben Chen.
Ben Chen, probably not. I'm actually running it with Andy Wu and Cam Felici, and that fourth slot is kind of a mix-up sometimes. I've had Philip Latch, brother of Solia Latch, former TSM legend, shout out to her, play around. We've also had Shangming Yuan, the Chinaman. He has been introduced to Fortnite, especially Fortnite OG. This is actually, I think, his first time playing it since a while, so we're all pretty new at it. So what's your squad, Chaz?
We got a big group of players, but I just kind of fit in with whoever's the best players and get carried to all of my victory royales, which come plenty.
Are you doing the build or no build?
Of course, we're doing builds. We're not bots. We know how to build. You're a no build guy.
Yeah, I haven't played the game seriously in like over a year, so.
Sounds like you stink at Fort. So I would say face me, but you know how that go. It'd probably go similar to how it would go in Mario Kart.
Except for me, I would absolutely decimate you.
I don't know about that, but Mario Kart esports at Cranston East is soon kicking up. Are you going to be a part of the Mario Kart esports team?
I mean, if you're going to be a part of it, I might as well be a part of it, Chance. Obviously, it's going to be a good opportunity. Obviously, it's going to be fun. Obviously, I don't know if I'm going to join yet.
Well, we're going to put a poll on this episode asking whether we should join the team. That'll probably be the deciding factor.
Are we going to actually listen to that poll, Chance?
I mean, our polls get decent participation. On our last episode, we got a couple of responses for our big question, I believe. Not last episode, but the Who Put the Hex on East Sports episode. We had 2 responses.
2?
Saying that there was a hex. So,
2 responses, 2 whole responses.
So if you 2 are listening and would like to weigh in on if me and Tim should join the esports Mario Kart team, let us know. I'd like to have a couple more TSM members maybe who are willing to join the team. Maybe Angel Santana, who's in the class next door. Not sure if you could hear it, but maybe one of them, or Evan Morel Jr. Hernandez, who plays on an emulator at home.
Mario Kart 8 emulator?
Yep, he just plays it on his PC.
What?
But the new news in Mario Kart is the new maps, 4 new courses across 2 new cups, so 8 courses total, alongside some new characters coming into the game, some old, some new. I know I've gotten a chance to play as Funky Kong on Wii edition of Rainbow Road. It's a good throwback map. The Wii edition was one of the best Mario Karts that's released. What are your thoughts on the new Mario Kart maps, and have you got a chance to enjoy them?
I've gotten a chance, but I haven't gotten the most chances to enjoy them yet because so I did try some of them out like on like a dolo thing, like a solo track, in single player. And I have tried out all the characters. I think out of all of them, I think the New Donk City mayor, or I forget her name, is the strongest driver out there. I mean, Diddy Kong is just a little bit too small. Same with Peachette.
And what's the difference between Baby Peach and Peachette?
I have no clue, Chaz.
I was confused when I saw that.
I have no clue. They could have added somebody else, but I guess Peachette is what we got.
Now let's switch over now to Cranston East news. I know you have a big update regarding RJROTC.
Yeah, the JROTC is back in style today. Style this week. They are back in their uniforms. They're collecting food and looking good. You look good, you play good, you
Look good, play good, pay good, live good, die good.
Yeah, and I guess if they ever get sent to battle, I guess they'll die good. I'm not sure how people will die good in war, but
All right, well, you took that down a dark path, but I know you have some qualms about Cranston East, maybe diplomatically foregoing the Pledge of Allegiance in back-to-back days. Tim, as student council president, how are you allowing this to happen?
As student council president, I mean, you should really take this from the perspective that I'm a BBC lead director or whatever. Okay, Jeff, stop putting your mind in a gun. Alright,
If you guys didn't know, TSM, Thunderbolt Sports Media, formerly was known as a subdivision of BBC Sports, but they've separated entities now, and now
I think it's just a name change, Chad. I think they were separate for most of the time.
TSM has
Yeah, we changed the name for reasons.
the BBC, but Tim, itching to get a part of that BBC, is now a part of the club. And Tim, you're one of the main guys in the BBC, and you couldn't have gotten us our Pledge of Allegiance for people to just flat out ignore?
Hey, man. I thought the people that were gonna do it, Liam Jordan and Joseph Marion, were gonna, be on time and, just get their proper things out there. But I guess, some late entrances forced it to be a little bit rushed. But I made sure to not let that happen. And Thursday was not even my doing, Chaz. It was, we were not allowed
the powers that be didn't allow it to go down. But another club that you're a part of, the yearbook, I know you're working diligently on some layouts for the winter sports season, preparing those up before pictures start rolling in.
Yeah.
How's the layout process going for you? And go ahead.
I did like one layout, and I had a lot of help from you, Chaz, who, despite the, supposed superiority over me, has not decided to do work. So basically, I'm Timothy. And it's been fun.
Oh yeah, it definitely looked like fun from across the table. Thing is, I don't do work that's not assigned to me. So I basically go ahead, you got it, Tim.
Yeah, that's why you are not getting the big promotion, Chaz. That is why you're not getting the big kahuna. You're not getting the big kahuna of promotions. You're not getting the big kahuna of glory and fame and all that's good in the world.
All right, well, whoever's getting Tim means blood from this blood drive. Beware, you might turn into a straight up yapper, just blabbering about nothing when. Come on, man. What are you doing, man? Come on, man.
What?
Let's move into a subject that you, for some reason, know too much about because you're not in the class, but you know that I made a video for my.
You showed me the Meatball video.
Well, that was
You showed me the Meatball
post
video.
you just getting every single second of words I say in that class.
You showed me
Alan
that.
Chen, but
Hey, he
that's a
he
story
lets
for
me know.
another day.
He lets me
as
know what happened.
Writing to inform and explain EE runs through you or I, and we had to make a video, or I had to. They give you a lot of flexibility in that class, and I had to make a video, or chose to, on my Nana's
Oh, you
meatballs.
chose to?
Yeah, well,
What was the alternative?
anything. You can literally make a video or write about anything in that class.
Really?
That was a part of the maker badge where you had to make something and explain the history behind it and the likes. Make a how-to video was the big part of it. Next quarter, I might move on to the adventurer badge, which makes you have to, adventure and kind of make a top 10 or list of a certain subject around Rhode Island. I can do the top 10 burgers in Rhode Island. You might be the top of the list because you are a burger.
What?
But anyways.
I'm not taking this. Oh, there you go. You are a little burger, Chaz. You just dropped your phone, everyone, on the podcast. Live on the scene, Charlie Adams just dropped his phone. He is a burger. He is actually ahead of me, not as an honorable mention, but as the number one option. Chaz, now if you decided to
Well, Tim.
slanderous name.
Well, Tim.
Well, whoa,
What did you think about the video, Tim?
The video was pretty cool. Did you make your recipe thing yet so I can scan the QR code?
Yep, the QR code is scannable, and it's going to be an exciting recipe for you to try, maybe.
Yeah, the one thing, I hated, Chad, is I don't know why you're putting ketchup into people's balls. I don't know why,
Well, it
we
seems like you
kept
weren't paying
people's
attention to the
balls.
video, because the ketchup was just a fake out.
It's just a fake out, Chad, but I saw you. I know you wanted to put them ketchup inside those balls. I know. I know how much you wanted to just, penetrate those balls with ketchup.
Alright, so I don't know if we have much else to cover. We could talk about Wolfie, but that's up to you, Tim.
I'm fine with ending the episode right there, but, if you want to explain your ideas.
Well, we talked about the wolf idea that was brought up by one of our administrators, and I just think that there's improvement to be had.
Yeah.
We know Alice is an acronym, so why not make Wolf an acronym? And if you're making Wolf an acronym, the W obviously just stands for wolf.
Mm-hmm.
But if they somehow get by that, the O stands for orbital cannon, Tim.
Wow.
Now, I don't know who's stopping that, but if they somehow do, we move on to our lockdown and then our fleet. So it's an idea to bring up. Maybe you can pitch it to the powers that be on the school district board or whoever decides all those decisions.
Yeah, man.
I know you'll be right by my side supporting it.
Sure. Is that the end of the episode, James?
Yeah, go ahead and sign us off, Tim.
Alright, well, that was the 10th episode. We are in double digits now. So, that was all we had to offer. That was all we had to cover. Like, subscribe, follow, listen to this podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell a random stranger on the street that we have a podcast. And Jazz, you can sign us off.